Teachings of Ibn Arabi. He says, "You yourself are the object of your quest. When this secret is revealed to you, you will know that you are not other than God, but that you yourself are the object of your quest. You do not need to get rid of yourself. You have not ceased, nor will you cease, to exist without time and without moments, as we have already mentioned. You will see his attributes as your attributes, your exterior as his exterior, your interior as his interior, your first as his first, and your last as his last, without any doubt or uncertainty. You will see your attributes to be his attributes, and your essence to be his essence, without you becoming him, and without him becoming you in the least degree. His face. Everything passes away except his face, both outwardly and inwardly. This means that there is no existent but him. Nothing other than him has being, and therefore has to pass away, so that his face remains. There is nothing except his face. The ignorance. It is as if a person who does not know something then comes to know it. Their existence does not disappear, but their ignorance disappears. Their existence remains as it was, without being exchanged for another, and without the existence of the ignorant person being added to or mixed with the knowing person. Ignorance simply disappears. The veil. Do not think, therefore, that you need to pass away, because if it were necessary to pass away, that would mean that you are his veil. He would therefore be veiled by something other than himself. This would require something other than him, having power over him, which prevents him from being seen. That is an error and misconception. As we have already said, his veil is nothing other than his oneness and his singularity. That is why the person who has reached the essential truth is allowed to say, "I am the truth," or "Glory to me." No one has truly reached him unless they see their attributes to be the attributes of God, and their essence to be the essence of God. Without their essence or their attributes ever entering into God or coming out of him, and without passing away in relation to God or remaining in God, they see that their self has never been their own, not that it was and then it passed away, because there is no self except his self, and there is no being except his being. This is what the Prophet was alluding to when he said, "Do not curse time, because God is time, and God, who is blessed and exalted, is unblemished by any associate or equal or like." His being. It is also reported that the Prophet said, "The High God says, O child of Adam, I was sick, and you did not visit me. I was hungry, and you did not feed me. I asked of you, and you did not give to me." This alludes to the fact that the being of the person who asks is his being. When that is accepted, it is also accepted that your being is his being, and the being of all created things, whether substance or accident, is his being. His essence. When the secret of an atom is discovered, the secret of all created things is made clear, whether they are apparent or hidden. You do not see the two worlds as other than God, without the two worlds and their names, and what they name existing, or rather, their names and what they name, and their existence are him, without any doubt. You do not see God as having ever created anything, but as being every day in a different configuration, which sometimes reveals him and sometimes conceals him, without any condition, since he is the first and the last, the apparent and the hidden, and he has knowledge of everything. He manifests himself in his oneness and hides himself in his singularity. He is the first in his essence and his self-subsistence, and the last in his everlastingness. He is the very being of the name the first, and the name the last, of the name the apparent, and the name the hidden. He is his own name and what is named. Just as his existence is necessary, the non-existence of what is other than him is necessary. What you think is other than him is not other than him. He is free from there being any other than him. Indeed, other than him is him without any otherness, whether this is with him or in him, inwardly or outwardly. Attributes. Whoever is qualified in this way has innumerable attributes, without limit or end. Just as the person whose physical form passes away is deprived of all their attributes, whether praiseworthy or blameworthy, so the person who dies a mystical death has all their attributes, whether praiseworthy or blameworthy, taken away from them, and God comes into their place in all their states. The essence of God comes into the place of their essence, and the attributes of God come into the place of their attributes. Because of this, the Prophet said, "Die before you die." That is, know yourself before you die. He also said, God says, "My servant continues to approach me with free acts until I love him. And when I love him, I am his hearing, his sight, his hand," which refers to the fact that whoever knows their self sees their whole being as the very being of God, without any change in their essence or attributes. There is no need for any change, since that person was not the existence of their own essence, but was simply ignorant of the knowledge of their self. Know yourself. When you know yourself, your egoism disappears and you know that you are no other than God. If you had an independent existence, you would have no need of passing away or of self-knowledge. You would therefore be a Lord apart from him. But there is no Lord apart from God, who is blessed and exalted. He, God. The benefit of the knowledge of the self is to know for certain that you are neither existent nor non-existent, that you are not, never have been, and never will be. In this way, the meaning of "there is no God but God" becomes clear. There is no divinity other than him. Being belongs to none but him. There is no other except him. There is no God but he. If someone says, "You make his lordship superfluous," the reply is, "I do not make his lordship superfluous, because he has not stopped being both ruler and ruled, just as he has never stopped being both creator and what is created, and he is now as he has always been. His creativity and his lordship do not need what is created or subject to him. When he brought the creatures into existence, he was already endowed with all his attributes, and he is now as he has always been. There is no difference in his oneness between the new and the eternal. The new requires his manifestation, and the eternal requires his remaining hidden. His exterior is identical to his interior, and his interior is identical to his exterior. His first is the same as his last, and his last is the same as his first, and all is one, and the one is all. He was described as every day in a different configuration, when there was no thing other than him. And he is now as he has always been, since in reality, what is other than him has no being. Just as in eternity, without beginning and timelessness, he was every day in a different configuration, when no thing existed. So he is now as he has always been, although there is no thing or day, just as there has been from all eternity no thing or day. The existence of the creatures and their non-existence are the same. If it were not so, it would require the origination of something, which was not already in his oneness. That would imply imperfection, and his oneness is far more exalted than that. Know your Lord. When you know yourself in this way, without attributing any opposite, like equal or associate to God, then you really know yourself. That is why the Prophet said, "Whoever knows their self, knows their Lord, and not whoever gets rid of their self, knows their Lord," because he knew and saw that there is nothing other than him. Then he pointed out that the knowledge of the self is the knowledge of God. In other words, know yourself or know your being, because you are not you, but you do not know it. That is, know that your being is neither your being, nor other than your being. You are neither existent, nor non-existent, nor other than existent, nor other than non-existent. Your being and your non-being are his being, without any being or absence of being, because your being and your non-being are the same as his being, and his being is the same as your being and non-being. So if you see things without seeing anything else with God or in God, but see things as him, then you know yourself, and such a knowledge of the self is knowledge of God, without doubt or uncertainty, and without mixing anything temporal with the eternal, whether in him or through him.